Hello, this is Interstellar Warrior. In this video, I wanted to talk about the Atari video game Berzerker. Although apparently, after doing some research, it's never been called Berzerker. It's always been called Berzerk, but that's not how I remember it. I remember it being called Berzerker. And I'm from the 80s. I used to own this video game. And I also had the game system, the Atari 2600, which I played that Atari video game on. And the other day I was, going to do a little research on it, and I automatically punched in Berzerker in the Google search engine. But what came up, the Google search engine results, was Berzerk. And that's not how I remember it. And apparently there's many other people that remember it being called Berzerker as well. And I'm not confusing it with the newer version of this game that you can play on Xperia Play. It's called Berzerker 2012 XP. This is it right here, screenshot. You can pay $1.26 if you own Xperia Play. I'm not confusing it with this. It's this game that I used to own. I remember it vividly, and I remember it being called Berzerker. And apparently there's others that remember it being called Berzerker as well. And I was going to show you some examples. It's found on this forum here. People talking about their past, some about video games, some other memories in their past. And someone here remembers the video game Berzerker. They have it spelled correctly here, how I remember it being spelled. They're listing it with other 80s video games, Star Castles and Tempest. I used to play Tempest. I remember that game. Okay, here's another form. Star Wars was my favorite, then played the shit out of Tank and Berzerker. You running around killing robots and not trying to be shot. Okay, find another. Here's another forum talking about the games we played. Berzerker rocked, a precursor to Robotron. Not many remember Berzerker. See, this person has it spelled the way I remember it being spelled. I'll give you another example. I started out playing games like Berzerker and War on Atari 2600 that my parents had on this little portable black and white TV. So this person also remembers it being spelled Berzerker. Give another example. Found another forum, old school arcade video game favorites. Let's see here. Further down, they'll be talking about it here. Let me find it for you. Here it is. This person lists their favorites here: Joust, Galaga, Crystal Castle, Berzerker, Pong. They have it spelled correctly here. This person has it spelled correctly, Berzerker, but in their little article, they have it spelled Berzerk. I see a lot of that. Okay. Is the Roomba really that different from the bad robots from Berzerker 80s Atari game? So this person remembers it being spelled Berzerker. Give another example here. Wait for it to come up. Okay. I still have an Atari with approximately 30 games: Berzerker, Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Asteroids. So this person, they spelled it Berzerker. Give another couple more examples. Berzerker, my love for you is like a truck. So here's another Berzerker fan, but in his little article here, he spells it Berzerk, but in the title, Berzerker. What is to say about Berzerk? All I can say is my brother and I sat in front of my janky black and white TV for hours playing this game. Okay, one more example here. Let's wait for it to come up. Sorry this is taking so long. I have quite a few tabs open here. Okay. On this forum, Berzerker was good. I had so many of them. Here they're talking about video games as well in this forum. But he has it spelled correctly how I remember it. You guys remember the joystick that came with the 2600 game system? Okay, so the Mandela effect kind of was playing tricks on my mind here. It had me questioning my own memory, and I was thinking to myself, well, was it Berzerk? But then I go, no, I remember it being Berzerker. So I wanted to do a little experiment here. I mean, especially from all of you people out there from the 80s. I'm from the 80s era. It was a great era, the clothes, the music, the video games. I'm sure a lot of you remember it being called Berzerker, spelled Berzerker, but I'm sure there's many of you that remember it being called Berzerk. So I wanted to do a little experiment here. I'm going to enable the comments. So those of you who remember it being called Berzerker can say that in the comments section, and also for those of you that remember it always being called Berzerk, can also put that down in the comments section if you like. I just want to to see how many of you remember, and it being called Berzerker, and I just need a little confirmation here. So I thought it'd be a little fun experiment to try this out, and so I'll enable the comments for you guys, and see how this turns out. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Peace out, people.